أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Inshallah, we decided to try something new this term. Well, we are in the middle of the term, but a new fresh start after Ramadan. So inshallah, we will be studying bits and pieces of prophetic messages from Quran. Quran has a lot of stories apparently of prophets, but what are their message to us today in our society that we live in? And today, inshallah, we will start with Prophet Salih alayhi salam, and our title is Between Expectations of Others and the Truth. So we will cover roughly 5 verses, but let's quickly read all of them at once so that you get the big picture, and inshallah we will study the verses individually. وَإِلَى ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا, and to the Thamud people we sent Salih, one of their brethren. قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُمْ مِنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. You have no other God but Him. هُوَ أَنْشَأَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُمْ فِيهَا. It is He who has produced you from the earth and settled you therein, or give life to you therein. ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ. Then ask forgiveness of Him and turn to Him. إِنَّ رَبِّي قَرِيبٌ مُجِيبٌ. For my Lord is near, ready to answer." قالوا يا صالح قد كنت فينا مرجوا قبل هذا. They said, "O Salih, until now you were one of those among us on whom we placed great hopes. أتنهانا أن نعبد ما يعبد آباؤنا وإننا لفي شك مما تدعونا إليه مريب." Now, would you forbid us to worship what our forefathers worshipped? Indeed, we are in disquieting doubt about what you are calling us to. وَيَا قَوْمِ هَذِهِ نَاقَةُ اللَّهِ لَكُمْ آيَةً فَذَرُوهَا تَأْكُلْ فِي أَرْضِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تَمَسُّوهَا بِسُوءٍ فَيَأْخُذَكُمْ عَذَابٌ قَرِيبٌ. O my people, this she-camel of God is a sign for you, so let her pasture on Allah's earth, or eat on Allah's earth, and do not hurt her, or do not touch her with ill intent, or else some chastisement which is near at hand should overtake you. فَعَقَرُوهَا فَقَالَ تَمَتَّعُوا فِي دَارِكُمْ ثَلَاثَةَ أَيَّامٍ ذَلِكَ وَعْدٌ غَيْرُ مَكْذُوبٍ. But they slaughtered her. Thereupon Salih warned them, "Enjoy yourselves in your homes for a maximum of 3 days. This is a promise which shall not be belied," or which is not going to go wrong. So these are the 5 verses. There are a few more verses that we're following, but the main topic that we would like to cover is in this part. So overall, this is the part. And this is from Surah Hud, which is 11th chapter, and verses from 61 up to 65. So now that you see the big picture, let's start focusing on the first verse. And I will try to cover some of things in here, and we will get back to this verse as we study the following verses as well. One of the recurring themes in Surah Hud is Surah Hud talks about several other stories of several other prophets, but a common theme is this وَإِلَى ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ part, like their brother. A messenger is being sent to them, but there is someone from among them. So when it is this أخاهم part, like their brethren, what comes to mind? Like what is significant in here? What can we say about that?
Someone from the same tribe who knows them.
Who knows them? Okay, so the person knows them.
They know, like people know him.
And people know him. Yeah, so it's a mutual knowledge. You guys know him and they know you as well. So the message is relatable because he is coming from them. So it's not like America exporting democracy to some Middle Eastern country. Like it's not some external idea, external people that's important. But also they know him. So there's this establishment of trust in there. That's important. So, but the message that he comes up with is interesting because in the next verse, we will see that people are going to be disturbed about this message. So in the next slide, I'm going to ask you that question. What's wrong with this message that they get offended? He says, worship God. You have no God but him. So a few things to emphasize maybe here. First, he's inviting them to worship God, but then add something else. So other than him, you don't have any deities. Like, what does this, if somebody was just mentioning such a thing to you today, like Salih comes and says this to you, what would you say? Because every word is carefully chosen. Like, of course, we can take the generic reminder and say, oh, yeah, of course. Let's not take it this way. But what does this signify?
Purpose, like you are here to worship one God.
One God. So then the immediate question should be, am I worshiping other gods, right? Because it sounds like he is inviting me to worship God. Maybe I might even claim that I already do worship God. But it looks like besides this, I am worshiping others. This is one thing. But very good. In the first place, though, what does it mean to worship God? Like when we say worship God, what comes to mind?
Complete submission.
Complete submission? Like what does it look like?
Like you should complete act upon each and every commandment with complete obedience.
And as an example for a commandment, very good.
Like for example, he says that don't do harm to others. You stay away from that. Not just because you're sinning, but also because it's a commandment of God and you need to be a good out in that sense.
Okay. Okay, very good.
Like pray or fulfill your obligation. You have to fulfill all of it.
Okay, very nice. Are good in this case. So complete submission. That's a beautiful description. But specifically, abd being chosen in here rather than, for example, aslim or like submit, or what else could be? Ittabi'a, obey. Like the emphasis here being worship. Or let's keep using the Arabic word for that, abdness. Sister Zareen is brewing something. That's fine. Okay.
Do you mind just turning lights off?
Yeah, sure.
And sorry, if people come, they just have to go down the light again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, sorry, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I'm just still kind of thinking about what it means. I guess I was kind of thinking about this in the perspective of the people that Salih has been sent to. Like, if I've been following this way of life, and then someone comes to me and says, worship God, you have no God but him. I'm being filled with questions. Like, it seems like my life has been going quite well up until now without this message being brought to me. So I would really need a lot to understand, like, who is this that you're speaking about, and how do I confirm really that there is no other God? Because I've been doing, I don't know, I guess for them, they've been going about their way, and I guess there's this rejection of it because they don't see the value of it. So I guess worshiping God, maybe there is something that they're worshiping or I'm worshiping, and it's really taken a hold. It could be many things, but then I really have to understand, like, why is it that I should follow this message instead. That's kind of some of the things that came to mind.
Yes.
I think like worship can also be to please him. Like for Muslims, Catholic faith means you don't see God, but you believe that He exists, and you pray to Him, you ask Him, you submit to Him. It's like a very broad umbrella word of submission, obedience, pleasing Him, and believing Him, although you don't see Him, but you believe that He exists because you see a lot of His like His ayah in the like his what do you say, the
Signs.
signs in the book, in the universe.
Yeah, so there must be an incentive for me so that I'm going to take the message serious, right? And if everything is going fine, maybe the follow-up part of the verse, could it be giving us the reasoning that we are looking for? Like, اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره, but then هو أنشأكم من الأرض واستعمركم فيها. It is He who has produced you from the earth and settled you therein. It looks like this is the justification for the previous sentence or the previous phrase, like worship Allah, you don't have any other God than Him, as if because, let's put a because or there, although it's not there. وَأَنْشَأَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُم فِيهَا. So I would like to, we will get back to this word ardi here, because we will see the same word 2 verses down the road. But let's focus on it. It's saying that it is He who, if you like, grows you up or constructs you, makes you from the earth, and gives you life, gives you like onush, living in it, on the earth. Is it really, like today, do we really agree with that statement? To what extent do we agree with that statement? Because apparently this is going to be the disturbing message for the people. So, Zareen, what do you think?
Well, I was just thinking, I think I've seen a similar ayat elsewhere in the Quran, and it was a little confusing for me at first because maybe it's from the translation, but it sounds like, or it reminded me of like a tree growing from the earth, and I was like, oh, is that really how we are made? Like when I see produced you from the earth, I think of like plants and seed, like trees growing from seeds. So I kind of took that a bit literally, I guess. It was kind of confusing to me how are humans produced like that, if that's even what the wording means.
Yeah.
It can also be that, like the way, like first initially we were made from soil, but now if you look at how the human being are produced, they basically start in a small embryo in the uterus, and the nutrition is basically coming indirectly from the ground. So whatever you're eating, you're basically nourishing yourself with it, and eventually that reaches the fetus, and fetus grows and becomes a human being. So maybe that's how it says that you produce from the earth, so that like you, whole body nourishes from everything that the earth and the universe produces. And then you benefit from everything that the universe produces. So you use that in your daily way to like sustain your life, to live a comfortable life. For shelter, you use the branches from the trees to build your houses. So you settle in the earth using the bounties available to you on the earth. Yeah.
In this case, we are being brought up, we are growing, and we are living life. But like, is it the earth or the tree that is feeding me, or it is Him who is feeding me, building me with that? Like, I guess this is the part which goes back to this verse. Ilahin ghayru. Like, do I give, I mean, I'm going to pick up on the word indirectly, for instance, in there. Because when I say it indirectly, I mean, that was a good explanation, but just to make a nuance, catch a nuance in there. Indirectly, it sounds like, or it might be understood as, God gives it to this and it gives it to me. Like it becomes an intermediary, which has a share, sort of, or partially doing some job. But he is the one who creates you in there, like with the plants that you eat, or with the, I don't know, camel that you eat, whatever you do, he is the one who does that. It's not that, at some point initially he pushed the universe, set it up, and now it's functioning by itself type of a thing. So I guess in the molecular level, we can explain it as such. But what is a more near aspect of it that we can think about? Like in our careers, for example, we barely think about what we eat, what we drink.
Yeah.
Like in our day-to-day life, probably we have things that are.
Yeah, also, like when I think of it from the science perspective, I think of like when you let, like for example, in a lab, if you let a cell be cultured, you created artificial cells and you allow that cell to grow in a cultured medium, and you are providing it with nutrition, oxygen, everything. And you're not like, let's say you just forget the cell in that medium and you let it grow. There are mutations, there are discrepancies that can occur, and the cell may not grow to the full form it was expected to. So you need some control mechanisms throughout the way to keep the mutations away, to silence the bad genes, to promote the good genes eventually, so that you have the product you're expecting. In a similar way, Allah created all of the initial stuff, but He is also present along the way to prevent the mutations, to prevent the things going the wrong way, to continuously maintain the orientation, maintaining the process, that it is produced in the exact same way He has programmed it to be produced.
Okay. What do you think, folks? Do you agree with that? It sounds good, but Brother Birkan, what do you think? Do you have a comment, or you're just
No, I'm just.
okay?
I just think we softened some.
Okay, you're fine. Sister Zareen, what do you think?
I was thinking, I was looking at the wording of the ayat again. So, huwa ansha'akum. So that reminds me a bit of inshallah, which I think it's the same root, I believe, where it's expressing a will.
Okay.
So I guess there's something or someone intentionally organizing my life. That's kind of how I'm taking it now, like after listening and thinking about it more. So it's not just that there's, like, if I'm thinking about my day-to-day life, it's not that there's just a routine and I'm following a routine, and if there's something that breaks from the routine, that's like an anomaly. But each step, each quote unquote mutation is actually intentional. Just to maybe go off on the cell example as well. And to see that as, like, for example, I was trying to visualize something in the lab today and I made a mistake. Trying to see that my initial reaction would be, oh no, I messed up, like this was not supposed to go that way. But maybe now instead thinking of it, oh, this was an intentional event meant to happen, and now I can learn something new from it and find a new like a new answer, or just like a new like development from it. So I guess the intentionality behind everything is something that
Yeah, I guess if we go with, like, if we take Earth in here as like any particle out there, any chemical compound, let it be water, let it be, I don't know, carbon, whatever out there, which is Earth. And we are made up of those particles, we are made up of those components. And that component is like, if there was an orange here and I were to eat that orange wouldn't be an orange anymore, but it would eventually become Yusuf. So, like, what makes an orange to become Yusuf? Because this is a huge change. Like, you get into when somebody starts grad school, there is this orientation classes for the first couple of weeks or for a week. And then for the first few months, you just keep reading some domain knowledge. If you get as a postdoc, where supposedly you're being more knowledgeable, still there's going to be months of reading for the domain just to get used to understand what's going on in there. This orange, I take it, put it into my mouth, chew it, and it goes to wherever it's supposed to go. It starts functioning as how Yusuf functions. So what does that? Like what builds me in this case? Is the orange building me up? Orange making me? Or like it can go wrong, but God is interfering to fix it? Or is it just the bare minimum fact of this particles in orange is going to become part of me? And there is no pause how I function either. Like in real time, change is happening. I keep changing, I keep growing. And then I function. Like important part is, Anshakum, you are being built up or you're being made. And at the same time, you are living in there. Like there is no pause in life. Life keeps moving on. Like you are given life. Almost in here is like you're being given life. So what does that? What am I attributing this to? Can I really attribute it to the orange itself? Can I attribute it to the particles of the orange? Can I attribute it to my genes of like what? So this is why this verse is actually attracting my attention to, saying that only one and only maker of everything can do that. You cannot distribute it among other stuff. You cannot say partially orange does it, partially you do it. You cannot imagine some sort of a law which takes care of things. You cannot say he set it up once and unless anybody messes it up, it will function by itself. None of these are happening. He is directly the one who does this. And in this case, if I go back to Urbudullah, recognize your neediness before him, because abdness means recognizing your neediness and acting accordingly. So am I an abd of whom? Because if you think like I am in need of orange, then I become an abd of orange. Like orange fulfills me, therefore orange is my sustainer, orange is my provider. But like other than the one who does everything, which orange doesn't do everything, by the way. Like for example, orange doesn't raise the sun. Orange doesn't bring the clouds for rain, right? So it's not ilah in this sense. So if it cannot do everything, then it cannot even be my sustainer, my provider, even partially. So this strong reminder of Tawheed is in here. But of course, generally, we take Tawheed as a issue of Aqidah, like as a creed issue. If it's a creed issue, really, what's a big deal about it? Shall I accept it as such? Sure, no worries. Like it's your culture, this is my culture type of a thingy. Or if it's just a matter of a style, if it is just a lip service, then why cause trouble? Yeah, you're right. We clap. This must have some sort of a side effect in my life. This is why people will get disturbed about it, right? What is disturbing in this message? That people will start challenging Salih in the next verse. Let's keep reading. If anything comes to your mind, you will share, inshallah. Then he says, فَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ. Then do repent, ask for forgiveness, and turn to him. Which means, if I am not on this page, on the same page with what is being I'm invited to hear, I am on the wrong, so I should first recognize my wrongdoing and then turn back to the true source. This is what I'm understanding from فَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ. Inna Rabbi qaribun mujib. This part is super important. Inna Rabbi qaribun mujibun. Indeed, my Lord is near and he is responsive. it must be that those people have issues about that he is bringing this up. It must be that those people are thinking that God is far away, and also they are thinking that God is unresponsive. So, do we really think that God is far away? Or what does it mean to say that God is far, for instance? So that this sentence really hits the nail on the head. What would it mean that God is far away? What do you think? Have you ever heard this from people?
Like you need to go through like in Christian society, they in order to like get to the God, they have to go to the Father. All of these like hierarchy of people to get to the God.
Okay.
But for us, we don't believe in that. We don't have to go to some mostly or some modernity to do that. We just directly go and pray, and we say that God is close to us. Even if you're not praying, we just like make a dua and we're like, okay, let's close to us.
That's interesting, because a Christian friend, I was attending a Bible study at some point, and he was saying that in your faith, God is so high, so distant. But in Christianity, we have a personal God, like personal relationship with God. She was claiming just the opposite of what you said. I understand where you're coming from. She was Protestant, of course, not Catholic, because what you mentioned is in Catholicism. She was a Protestant, and she was saying that we have personal God, meaning a personal relationship with the Creator. And since referring to the verses like وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ, like he is so high, sort of mentioning of the Creator, he says your God is so distant, ours is so relatable. What would we say? Like, what else can we say? I mean, that's one point. I agree with that. That's a good point. But what else could be said? A distant God. Who is a distant God? Sister Zari.
I guess for me, it's if I don't think of God when I have a problem. Like, for example, if I am struggling with something in lab, I'm going to go to a lab mate or my advisor, and those will be the first kind of places I turn to for help. Or if I want advice, I would seek out like my parents or my friends. Or even if I look outside and I see, for example, like a tree outside, I would say, oh, it's a beautiful tree. But maybe I'm not really thinking of like who made the tree, or like where does this beauty come from, or why do I really think that it's beautiful? And sort of where do these things, like what is the true like source of all these things? Like I guess I have a barrier, I guess, in between. Like there's something that I can attribute to. Like I guess like thinking about the earlier the earlier part about worshiping God, there's something in the middle that I can find, like I can attach to in worship. And so maybe that is why sometimes it seems like God is far or too high up above, because there seem like there are all these things that can answer my immediate like needs and problems.
And they seem to be functioning by themselves, or they seem to be happening. They just happen. And I do attribute results to them, or barely think about the Creator. So in the example with the orange, again, this is a super toy example, but we should expand it to our human-human interactions as well. So if I think that orange is feeding me, oh yeah, then God made the orange. Actually, no, God made the tree, and tree made the orange, and now orange is feeding me. Like I put God at the, like it keeps getting distant and distant. Or even I say, well, even for the tree itself, it took this many years for it to grow. Actually, Big Bang or whatever, like so distant of a Creator. And so time to time, he's just putting his finger here and there just to things doesn't go out of control. But otherwise, I mean, if he hears my voice, then maybe he can respond. And I have a firm belief in my heart that he does. Yet my perception is just the opposite of it. Like things mechanically are happening. And then he just interferes time to time. So in such a world, what's happening is, of course, my Creator is getting farther away from me. He sometimes is there, not always. Like, of course, if we ask if a mu'min, a believer, a Muslim, they would say, no, God is there 24/7. Like, I mean, figuratively speaking, always there. But then, am I really living as such? This is the question. Like, am I really feeling it as such? Or do I feel like, no, God makes the tree makes the orange makes me, type of a thing. If this is my reality, then I'm not really, really living by God is being near and God is being responsive. Because when I want to have more orange, what do? I put fertilizer to the tree. And then I say, of course, you have to fertilize the tree so that the tree grows better, so that whatever. So do I see fertilizing the tree as asking from the creator? Or do I see fertilizing the tree as asking from the tree? This is the distinction. Because at the end of the day, yes, creator tells me that if you want more orange, come to me by putting fertilizer. But when putting fertilizer, know that you're coming to me, you're not going to the tree. This is the distinction. But if I'm losing that, then the creator becomes far away from me. And this becomes even more problematic. Like with the trees and whatnot, it's a little easier, relatively easier, although it's not easy because our scientific enterprise shows that it's not that easy to really overcome that obstacle either. But when it comes to human relationship, like you like your friend or your spouse, your mom, which you benefit from, or you receive harm from. Where do you see this coming from? Do you see it coming from that person, or do you see it coming from your creator? Or it could be at the level of state or economy. Like economy is going down, now gold price is increasing, value of dollar is decreasing, and this and that, it's getting harder to find a job. And if you would like to live a decent life, you should have a good job. Like job is maintainer of my life, apparently. Like where is the creator in this picture? So, and I'm really speaking about not theological doctrine at this point. I'm talking about what I live by. Because on paper, I might come up with a self-consistent doctrine which works. It's not our main concern here. Our main concern is a doctrine that I live by and that I can confirm in my life. So, Inna Rabbi Qaribul Mujib, and this is why when reading those verses, I would like to remind myself, every word choice here means I have an issue with Rabb. First of all, having a Rabb, sustainer, a Lord. I must have an issue with him being near to me. I must have some issue with him hearing me, that Salih alayhi salam is coming and emphasizing him. So, but the response of the people to him is super interesting. They say, oh, Salih, until now, up until what you just said, you were one of those among us on whom we placed great hopes. In a sense, they are saying that, oh, such a disappointment you are. How dare you said that? Like, this is how I was imagining Salih alayhi salam back in the day. Like he was giving this valedictorian speech. Everybody was saying that, oh, the next president is speaking now. So they were so hopeful of who he's going to become, like smart, successful, and energetic person. And then they start with this statement, and then they say, now would you forbid us to worship what our forefathers worshipped? They immediately understand what's at stake. Indeed, we are in deep suspicion about what you are calling us to. And the word deep suspicion in here is a free translation, sort of, but it is coming from وَإِنَّنَا لَفِي شَكٍّ مِمَّا تَدْعُونَ إِلَيْهِ مُرِيبٍ. So like two words of doubt is being used in here. So shak is like doubt, but murib is like in heinous, deep suspicion we are in. What you say, what are you trying to do with this? Where are you going to try to take us with this? Like it is also questioning intentionality, sensing a negative connotation in what you're bringing us to. It's not like intellectual, I'm not sure if this is right or wrong. It's not that type of doubt. It is deep, suspicious. So, are you familiar with this type of psychological manipulation? Like, why did they come up with that statement? Today, does this happen to you, for instance? Or maybe they are afraid of even saying what Salih alayhi salam said, even to, let's start from the easy. In the lab, would you really say, worship Allah, who is the one who makes you from soil, earth. Earth doesn't make you, tree doesn't make you, orange doesn't make you. He is the one who makes you. And he is the one who gives life with you, like keeps updating you in a sense. Right after Sister Zareen today making this presentation or research and whatnot, imagine you said this to the lab at the conclusion of your presentation. What would they say? Zareen, the first part of the presentation was showing that you're going to become a promising scientist. But the finishing part was a huge disappointment. Like, how come did you derive this fancy, imaginary, what else did I say? Metaphysical interpretation for tangible realities that we are dealing with in the lab? If you didn't say this, I would have written you a reference letter. But now you're going to become ashamed if I write a reference letter for you. Up until that, everything was nice. And this is so real. Like, that manipulation is so real that, I think not twice, 5 times before making any quote unquote religious comments. Let's be more realistic, truthful comments, not religious, because religious sounds like a different domain, but truthful comment about reality, just because I know this would be the response. Any comments, Brother Gürkan, since I don't see you getting excited today? Maybe you're just restraining yourself.
Oh, no, it's not restraining. So would it be, like, if you take from the beginning with the previous ayah, and if I read it to myself, so it's starting with telling us that the Prophet is among us. So it's not something, not only the person, the way he would speak would be also familiar to us. So it will talk about what we are doing, how we are dealing with children, how we are dealing with ourselves, etc. So the message, as if saying that whatever you learn from this message, the Quran, is not something extra. It will be about your life. So, and then the first thing the Salih tells them that for you, there are no other deities. For you, there are no other lords. Only worship Allah. I think the more important part there is, for you, there are no other deities. As if it's telling us, and us, not others, not unbelievers, but us, that you've been worshiping all these other gods, and you shouldn't do that. And what kind of gods I've been worshiping is the ones that are not near to me and that are not answering to my calls. This is what he says. And when he said, only worship Allah, and the Rab, my Rab, is the one who near and the answers, we can also understand from the other way around, the other deities, the lords that you've been worshiping,
that you're asking from.
that they're asking from, I'm not close and not answering your calls.
Mm-hmm.
Then I check my life with this lens. What other lords that are far away and not even answering my calls that I'm worshiping? So, for instance, if you are studying in, let's say, the labs, or our friends are talking about genes, etc., when we say the evolution did this, so far away, we don't even know what we mean when we say evolution. And it cannot answer our calls because it doesn't have any hearing or anything. It just happened by itself, the blind force, how they describe it, right? Blind watchmaker. You can apply it to everything else. Your the culture, you worship your culture, you assume the value that you have is coming from your the history, your ancestors, all far away and not able to answer to your calls. Your hard working, right? Your let's say the studies or your work, profession. These are all distance in the sense that they don't know you, they don't have any relationship with you. They are just there as a system, and you trying to be part of it. Right? You're studying at UPenn. Why? Because you are worshiping, in the worst case, maybe we are not, because you are worshiping to an established system, right? That values UPenn over other schools, and you're trying to part of this system, which is blind. The system itself cannot answer to you, to your calls, right? It's distant. It doesn't have any personality. It doesn't have any emotions towards you. It's a distance cold system.
You have to fight against it.
Exactly, right? You're trying to choose one profession over other. Why? Again, you are worshiping an established system of values. This profession is better than other professions in terms of what? Bringing you to closer to the truth, or making you a better person, helping more people? No. It is better in terms of the salary, in terms of the status, maybe like a work-life balance, which one is easier, etc. Right? This is how, for instance, we don't have anyone from medical school, right? You are, okay. The people from medical school, how they choose their the residency. Oh, I want radio. Everybody wants radiology. Why? It's easier, right? Nobody wants oncology. And you are a medical doctor. You are supposed to help people, and the people who are in oncology are the ones who most, they need your help. Oh no, come on, it's too hard.
They are dying anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
yield is not too high.
Yeah, right. It's the same story not only in the medicine, like everywhere else, right? Your choices are based on a system that you worship. So the Salih says, no, don't do that. You've been doing this. Don't do that. Worship only the one, whatever it is. When we discussed this on Fridays, right? In Friday discussions, whenever we see word Allah, right, it means whatever it is that you don't know. Whatever it is that is, who put you on the earth, who put you, created you from the earth and give you the life, etc., etc. Whatever it is, I will call it as Allah, who is close and can answer your calls, worship that one. And then the answer says, what are you doing? What is your name? Sorry.
Ramla. Ramla.
Ramla.
Ramla.
Ramla. Ramla, this is a huge disappointment. We were so hopeful that you will be our the head of the, like a chair of the department. You will be the great medical doctor. And now you are complaining, criticizing the system that we all worship. How dare we would make you the head of the system. We were so hopeful. And you are going against it now. When it says, are you forbidding us worshiping from whatever our forefathers worshipped, meaning whatever it is established there, status quo, right? Systems that we worship, the culture. In my culture, we do it this way or that way. Are you going against that? Right?
This is how we have been achieving success for so
Exactly.
many years. Let's say, because everybody is in career hunts, right? Especially in such universities. And road to success, there's even a career center, I believe, in the university, which teaches you whichever proper steps to take to achieve success. It is the rule of the game. This is what we have been doing for years, centuries now. In this capitalist society, this is what works. What are you suggesting else? Like, shall we just close ourselves into caves and pray? Like, this generally is the counter narrative, right?
No, I'm not. Yeah, exactly.
So that was the thing that Salih alayhi salam was suggesting, and change this worldview, because you are living in a world in which things help me, which doesn't hear me, which are far away from me emotionally, physically. In all sense, they are distant from me, and they don't have any power, any authority over me. This is what I'm helping from. Like, this is the world and mindset that you live in. Change this mindset. But this was disturbing. But their response was like this, as if mocking, saying that, oh, we are deeply suspicious about your intentions. Like, what are you trying to do with this nonsense words? And even sometimes we will hear this from quote unquote Muslims who want to become powerful by playing the game according to the rules of what forefathers has been worshiping. Like, if success is achieved by crushing somebody's head, like at the state level and whatnot, let's say, let's do it. Or if this is how you become successful in job, so do it. Like, this mentality is out there. But I would like to mention this as we have 10 more minutes. Okay. So his response, and I'll quickly pass this and get to the next one. What is Salih alayhi salam's response to that? Because this response is important, because I am getting paralyzed and I don't speak because I know the response that will come in the previous verse, right? But he says, oh, my people, what do you think? Or consider this. If I had a clear evidence from my Lord, and that he also bestowed his mercy upon me, who will rescue me from punishment of Allah if I still disobey him? You can only make me lose even more. But what is he saying in here to me today, who is afraid of making such a comment, right? Yusuf, then look at your life. Do you have this clear evidence in your life? If you don't have clear evidence, then yeah, you will be afraid of talking to anyone or living by that word, living by what you're claiming. But look at your life. Is the orange making you, like, clear evidence is right before you? Just look at it. And once I realized that, no, like, I am 100% sure neither the orange that I eat, nor the particles of orange or anything. Or let's say whenever we go to chop for kids' yearly well visit and whatnot.
Don't say anything bad about Chuck.
Our doctor, like children's doctor, pediatrician, insists us having this flu shot, for instance, right? So flu shot fixing me or not fixing me, or it could be any medicine that I take or not. Like, does it fix me, or does my creator fix me? Do I see that this medicine is far away from me? With the medicine, it's my creator who fixes me. Putting medicine into my mouth is asking for my creator to cure me. Or else, I would have to say, oh, the medicine is going to become part of me in a second, is going to know everything about me, will start functioning me, will fix what I am, what's wrong with me. Like this distinction. So clear evidence. I am 100% sure. So that surety is what I should be after. Salih alayhi salam had this so that he didn't fall for their psychological manipulation. And then it's not only this intellectual conviction. He also says, وَآتَانِي مِنْهُ رَحْمَةً. And I did observe, I did experience his mercy. Because mercy of your mom is not something that you intellectually be convinced about. You know for it by heart. In my life, do I experience that I am being maintained mercifully? And orange doesn't carry any mercy in and of itself, because orange doesn't know me or isn't aware of itself. But with orange, I am like somebody is cooking this beautiful orange for me. Do I experience this mercy in my life? To the extent that these two are in my life, then I say, look, guys, these are the two that I'm 100% sure about. And you're inviting me to go against this worldview. What do you offer me? What you offer me is a world in which everything fights with itself, and I need to fight against the system to save myself. What you suggest bring me nothing, but even make me lose more. I don't achieve what I'm trying to get. On top of this, I am living in a world where everything is attacking me. So it's like a super defensive position. Like, for example, how do you feel in Philadelphia? If you hear more stories about somebody taking somebody's money at night, you're going to start getting more scared to walk at night in Philly, right? Because people are scaring you, saying that, oh, this is the reality of this city. If you haven't heard about this aspect of it, probably you would compare it to your hometown or something. You will feel a more happy life. The mindset that's being put on me makes everything fight against me. So you are developing this sense of super defensive worldview, which makes you live in like behind bars pretty much, which makes you lose even more. Like things are getting farther away from you, your sustainer is getting farther away from you, although your creator is near. But before we finish, I would like to get to that. And he comes with a evidence for them, a sign. This sign is very interesting. And let's see how this sign applies to us. It says, وَيَا قَوْمِ هَذِهِ نَاقَةُ اللَّهِ لَكُمْ آيَةً. My people, this she-camel of God is a sign for you. فَذَرُوهَا تَأْكُلْ فِي أَرْضِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تَمَسُّوهَا بِسُوءٍ. So let her eat on God's earth. وَلَا تَمَسُّوهَا بِسُوءٍ. And don't touch it with ill intention. Don't mess up with it. Don't hurt it. Don't harm it. فَيَأْخُذَكُمْ عَذَابٌ قَرِيبٌ. If you do so, some chastisement which is near at hand should overtake you. And then, but what they did was, they just slaughtered it in the most brutal ways. So abara in here is not simply a slaughtering, but slaughtering in the most violent ways. Then he says, فَقَالَ تَمَتَّعُوا فِي دَارِكُمْ ثَلَاثَةَ أَيَّامٍ ذَلِكَ وَعْدٌ غَيْرُ مَكْذُوبٍ. But they slaughtered her. Thereupon Salih warned them, enjoy yourselves in your homes for a maximum of 3 days. This is a promise which shall not be belied. My question in here is going to be, we can go with this story, why or how come a camel is being given as a sign for what they were getting wrong. Because they're supposed to look at the camel and fix their problem, right? What was their problem? In their world, there was a God, but other gods as well, other sustainers, other providers. And then they were thinking that God is far away from them, and they were fancying that orange is near them, orange is feeding them, right? This was their worldview. And because of that, they had many partners, associated partners, which they were thinking that they provide them. Then Salih alayhi salam says, look at this camel. This is going to teach you where you are doing it wrong, but don't touch it with ill intent. How come? What is special about this camel? What does a camel teach them or teach us? That was missing. And the way intentionally I am not telling you a different account, because sometimes this is being said as, oh, this camel came out of a stone or a rock or a cave. I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. Did I?
Behind mountain.
Behind mountain, it just comes out of rock. So it's a miraculous camel. I didn't say that though.
And I didn't say that.
I didn't say that here, yeah. But it said it in the previous verse. He said, Allah builds you from earth. You are already a miracle, which you are also coming out of rock anyways. If a camel comes out of rock, what changes? Same. So if you don't look at yourself, you are the same miracle that comes out of earth. Today, it's not about billions of years ago, Adam was created from earth. No, today, by eating this orange, you are being created by earth as well. No difference. Whomever is the owner of the earth is the owner of you, is your maker. But looking at this camel, what do we see? Camels are so interesting animals. Like in this desert, they eat like minimal whatever is they find there, which I think is thorny bush. But they're very fleshy animals, as you see. Also, interestingly, another thing that I think is important for today for us, when they find water, they drink. Maybe for the next month, no water. But their sustainer, their provider, keeps providing them for the next month as well. As long as you don't mess up with it, don't touch it, let it eat, let it drink, its sustainer sustains it. Don't mess up with it. In today's world, though, we are super anxious, right? We are super anxious about what if, today, look at the billionaires or wealth distribution of the United States, for instance. Like, a few people gathered so much and the rest of the people get none. Like, why would you gather so much? What sort of a fear is that? So I am worried about sustainer sustaining me. This is why I am just hoarding. But this animal, there's as if he's saying that this animal, if you let it be, its sustainer sustains it. Are you an exception to that? Your sustainer sustains you as well. But you think that, no, it's my effort that sustains me. It is the number of orange trees that I plant sustains me. So I become aggressive. I do more because my effort is what keeps me alive, what keeps me upright. Rather than my creator or the sustainer of everything sustaining me as well in this existence. But what do? Like, they got disturbed with Salih alayhi salam's message, right? Well, for the same reason they killed this animal as well. Because what was the mentality that disturbed them in Salih alayhi salam's message? It was that sustainer sustains you. And your efforts do not sustain you. So live in harmony or in satisfaction with that sustainer. But no, it's my effort, so I have to steal that animal. I have to kill it. I have to mess up with it because it's my effort that will make me rich or that will save me from hunger. Like this attitude. Look at today's world. How we are taking economy, for instance. We take it as fighting powers and like what's a zero-sum game? It's a zero-sum game. For me to earn, somebody needs to lose. So if you don't want to be a loser, you have to be a winner. Like there is no middle ground whatsoever in here. So in this case, if there's a camel, if I don't take it, Birkan will take it. Or the camel will die away. So it's an opportunity that shouldn't be missed. So take it away. But what was being said, why was it a sign? If you were to just observe the camel, it is tranquility, animal feeding, drinking, growing up, giving milk. Like somebody is maintaining this camel very beautifully, and camel is living happily. What's wrong with me? Like just take this lesson by observing, watching this camel, and take a lesson to yourself. Why are you messing up with the camel or with your neighbor or with Birkan? Just living this life just a camel does. Camel is thankful to its provider, its sustainer, a super happy animal. There are a lot of happy camel pictures in the internet if you would like to Google. So a satisfied, content animal. What's wrong with you? So Salih alayhi salam was sure about his creator. He had bayyinah, right? He had clear evidences. And also he was experiencing mercy, rahmah of the creator. This camel is a good example of certainty of I have a sustainer and I am being mercifully provided. Like a embodied example of, I guess if I were to put a camel's mentality on myself, I am being sustained, I am being provided, I am being mercifully nurtured. What are you talking about? Like this is what camel is shouting at them, at those people. What sort of a fight are you chasing? What sort of a life are you chasing?
And then if we take this slaughter part, what we do instead, we say, oh, no, let me analyze it. Let me see how water is stored, how it's enough for it. And also they have this, I'm just making up, like don't take it as true. They can also smell the water, and by this way they can find their, the sustenance, etc. It is their muscle system that makes it this way or that way. We put them into parts, right? Study them and say that, oh, this is how their life is, going on. There's no sustenance. There's no one taking care of them.
There's no mercy.
No mercy, exactly. Like one interesting example is insects. Like tiny creatures. If they have, I don't know, tell me the exact numbers if you know. If they have more than 20 neurons, that's, the luxury. With that many neurons, they can do all these different things, right? Interacting with the environment. So it's so obvious that it's not them doing all this, but they are guided, right? What we do, oh, no, let's slaughter them. Like put them into pieces. Let's look at the antennas. They interact with the wind. When they, sense the winds, they follow that path or this path, right? They have these things in their legs, and with that, the gravitational force is leading them towards these or that. So we take the big picture, which, so obvious and clear evidence, as with the previous ayah. It's so clear evidence that there's a lordship. Somebody's taking care. Because if you leave it to the animal or the environment, it will not happen. The big picture tells you that clearly. What do you do instead? Okay, let's complicate things. Because if we can complicate things, then nobody will understand, including ourselves. So we will trick ourselves. So put them into pieces. study them separately, come up with all these relationships, equations, etc. And we will give you a textbook for an insect, and the lordship will disappear.
So then actually this can be also understood in the sense, or in the emphasis of when it was mentioning أنشأكم من الأرض واستعمركم فيها. Like he built you from earth and made you live in there. Because my pieces are collected from earth, but I also live in this environment. Like, do not analyze me in the vacuum. You are made up of them, and you are now living with others in this environment. The creation is so intertwined. What does this show? Maker of one can only be the maker of all. So this splitting it into pieces and analyzing them in the vacuum so that mercy is taken out of picture, wisdom is taken out of picture is, yes, another thing that we...
It says this is what you want, this is what you want to worship. Okay, with this approach, putting them into pieces and study them, under the microscope, so that, you will lose the sense of lordship. Okay, you will be successful to some extent for a maximum of 3 days, right? You will develop these technologies, and then it will consume you.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no doubt about it. This is a promise which shall not be lied. Whatever you produce with this mentality will consume you.
And eventually death will consume you anyways. Like with this mentality, as you live and as you age, every day is going to become more painful, but eventually earth will consume you too. Like, of course, in the case of this tribe, they were annihilated with a shout, with a sound. But that sound of death starts echoing more as you age for us as well. Like for people, especially after 30s, 40s, I guess, I start hearing it more echoing in my ears as I age. Like this sound comes to everyone. So that's why this is not simply a historical story, or like this is not history, this is not story, it is us. Like what Salih alayhi salam saying in here is really talking about us. Let's conclude here, inshallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.